Missy Melba. I've been here at JCDS teaching for 12 years in kindergarten and pre-K4. I'm also the mom of Tommy in first grade and Catherine in pre-K3.
My name is Connelly. I'm also a pre-K4 teacher. This is my 6th year at JCDS and my 3rd in pre-K4.
So we're here today to talk to you about loving guidance using conscious discipline. Karen and I have been to a few trainings ourselves, and we find as pre-K4 teachers that it's very important to be teaching these social emotional learning skills to the children at a young age so they can handle bigger problems as they get older. What colleges are finding as they come out, the jobs of the future are wanting these interpersonal skills more so than academic skills. The jobs of the future.
Well, if you think about it, in the future our students will be basically competing against computers and robots. And when you think about the advantage that they will have over technology, it would be interpersonal skills and emotions.
Conscious discipline is a multidisciplinary approach based on 3 distinct brain-body states in adults and children. It's 7 powers that uplift you, and it's a journey that really begins with you. So let's talk about those states of the brain, the 3 states. The first one is the survival state, which you'll see down at the bottom in the brainstem, the red part. This one is where it's saying, am I safe? It's the fight or flight, the hitting, screaming, scrunching the face, balling up the fists. We use safety to solve problems when children are in this state. It's important to know that we want this state. We don't want it to not happen, but we want children to understand when it's appropriate to be in the survival state. So having a scary situation like a stranger approaching your child, you want them to understand that fight or flight. Having a friend take your block, that shouldn't be the survival state. So we're trying to teach them the appropriate time for survival state. The next piece is the emotional state or the limbic system. This is the part in the blue that you see here on the brain. And it is the question asking, am I loved? You'll see a lot of crying in this state. This is the autopilot. So that CD-ROM from when you were younger, when you said, I'll never say that to my own children. And then lo and behold, it comes right out of your mouth. We use connection to solve the problems when we see a child is in this state. And then the final state is that executive state using the frontal lobe, where it says, what can I learn from this? You have choices and reflection, goals and achievement, and it's problem solving. This is where we are trying to get the children from that survival and emotional state to get them to the executive state so that we can solve problems and that they can learn from what just happened. The journey really does start with you. I will tell you as a parent that using conscious discipline at home has been harder than using it in the classroom, but I figure that if I'm using it even 20%, then that's 20% more than my kids were getting it before. So celebrate those small victories.
So Missy and I wanted to share some of our wow moments that we've had as we've gone through our trainings in conscious discipline. The first one is that mature inner speech does not begin until the ages, between the ages of 7 and 9, which means before your child is able to have that mature inner speech, it's a lot of repeating and explaining on our part, on your part. Also, your language becomes the child's inner speech. I spoken equals you internalized. So when you say, I notice that you picked up your toy and put it on a shelf, or I like when you pick up toys and put them back in their basket, the child hears, you like it when I do this, you see me when I do this. But if you say, you picked up your toy and put it back where it belonged, that's helpful, they start to think, I'm helpful when I pick things up and put them away, when I help do chores. So you want to take you out of it when you are talking to your child. You want to say, you did this, and that is helpful. Missy mentioned the survival state. Do not talk to someone in the survival state until their shoulders go down. Having your shoulders up is a symbol that someone is still there. As far as punishment and reward systems like sticker charts, they contribute to the cycle of addiction. They appeal to the lower centers of the brain. It's kind of similar to training a dog. And we continue to help children if they are struggling with reading or math. Why is it different for behavior?
Okay, so let's talk about those 7 powers. The first one we have is the power of perception. No one can make you angry without your permission. So the goal here is to teach children and adults to take responsibility for our own upset. When you feel yourself getting upset, your heart rate beginning to get faster, it's time to take a moment, stop, take a deep breath, and relax. Say, I am safe, keep breathing, I can handle this. You can't handle the situation with a child until you yourself are calm. So this next one is the power of unity. We're all in this together. To perceive compassionately and offer compassion to others and ourselves. So you want to talk about why they're doing something and why it's important. You picked up your books and put them on the shelf. That is helpful. It keeps the floor clean so nobody gets hurt and the books are safe.
The next power is the power of attention, and that is whatever we focus on, we get more of. So you want to make sure that you point out things in your children and even in a spouse that you want them to do more of. So for example, Greg, you are eating over your plate so that the food will fall on the plate instead of the floor. That is helpful. As opposed to saying, Greg, why do you never eat over your plate? It always makes the food fall on the floor. Or to your spouse, why do you never vacuum? Instead say, you helped me vacuum when I was out of town. That's helpful. The power of free will, the only person you can change is you. So you want to learn to connect and guide instead of force and coerce. For example, it's time to clean up. You can start by picking up the crayons or by picking up the cars. Which is best for you? And especially at a young age, children need to feel like they have some control, and giving them choices is a way for them to feel like they have control, but you still get the outcome that you want.
The power of acceptance. The moment is as it is. We have to learn to respond to what life offers instead of attempting to change the world to go our way. For children, the way that you help them is to describe and name what they're doing. Your face is going like this. You seem angry. Something happened. You wanted to stay and play longer. It's hard. Breathe with me. You can handle this. Both Karen and I feel like we're still learning this one, describing to the child how they're acting and their actions. But I think it's just something that with practice, we get better and better each day. And also, if you say you wanted to stay and play longer, if that's not what they wanted, trust me, they will let you know. The next one is the power of love. Choose to see the best in others. The goal is to see the best in others and keep us in those higher centers of our brain so we can consciously respond to a situation instead of unconsciously quick reactions to life events. At our school, we've adopted the 7 mindsets, which has really been helpful for this. It's about an attitude of gratitude and live to give, and all these positive traits to try and see the best in others and the best in ourselves.
The last power is the power of intention, and this is that mistakes are opportunities to learn and to teach. So when a child repeats a misbehavior, instead of looking at it as a problem, you look at it as another opportunity to help teach them how to use a new skill. For example, if a child will not stop hitting their brother, you can say, you have a choice. You can choose to play with your brother using helpful hands, or you can choose to hit your brother again and play by yourself. The child hits again. I can see by your actions that you have chosen to play by yourself, and so that you and your brother can stay safe. And look at that as still a win for you. It's not, if a child chooses to go play by themselves, don't look at it as a lost, but look at it as a lost battle. Sometimes that's a child realizing that they can't play safely with someone else in that moment. And it helps to put their responsibility back on the child.
So conscious discipline believes that relationships are the cradle to learning, and that all behavior is some type of communication.
So the 4 essential steps to reach any child: 1, see the call for help, decode your child's emotions and misbehaviors as a call for help. 2, make a connection. So even using everyday routines to sing songs together, read books, your bedtime routines, bath time routines are a great little place to make connection. And Missy is holding up the book I Love You rituals, and you can use as everyday times to use some of these strategies that Dr. Becky A has. There's songs and finger plays and fun ways to connect in there. Teach your child how to self-regulate through your responses to your emotions. So how you act when you are stressed and upset is a great model for your child on how they can regulate their own emotions. And teach the social skills that are needed. So teach missing social skills. See mistakes and misbehaviors as opportunities to teach and reinforce skills that are needed.
Some other great stories are by Andrew Newman. He has done conscious bedtime stories. These can help you have that time with your child, and then also they have like skills inside of them that you can talk about with your kid after reading the story. And he has a whole set. These are just a few. There are 5 steps to self-regulation. So first, to notice I am, how you are feeling. 2 is to breathe and calm yourself down. 3 is to name that feeling. So I feel. 4 is that the moment is as it is, so you need to choose what you're going to, what you want to be. Instead of, even though I'm feeling angry, I choose to do this in a different way. And 5 is to make that decision and how you're going to get there. So I solve. So it's I am, I calm, I feel, I choose, I solve. So we'd love to teach some breaths that we do with the children in conscious discipline. They have the star, which is to smile, take a deep breath, and relax. There is the drain, where we scrunch up your shoulders, your face, and everything, and then you just drain, let the water out. There is the balloon, which the children love this one. Just the pressure on top of the head can be calming for some children. So starting in this position, and you breathe in and out. It's important to note that your diaphragm must be moving in order for you to get to the executive state. So we really want to teach children to do that belly breathing. And they love to pop it. My kids love that one. The pretzel, so you float your butterflies and cross over, bring it in, bring your thumb to your chin. You can cross your legs as well. This is my personal favorite. I just find it like a little warm hug. And then there is ones that you can make up yourself. So when my son was younger, he really needed to scream a bit to get it out. And so we made up the Hulk breath. So we would breathe in and get our muscles and just scream, ah! Or I had a dainty girl in class the other year, and she wanted to do a rainbow breath. So we would just make the rainbow and breathe in and out. We have an area both of us have in our classrooms called the Peace Place, where we give these symbols for the breaths. We give other toys like slinkies that they can breathe in and out as they're using it. And we teach the children that these are tools, not toys. And so the Peace Place is a place that they can go to help calm themselves and get ready for the next part of the day.
So let's talk about tattling. There are 3 types of tattling. The first type is safety. That is when a child may come up to you and say, Greg fell out of the tree and hurt his arm. And in that case, you would say, it is my job as the safekeeper to take care of that situation. I will handle this. Thank you for telling me. The second type of tattling is intrusion tattling. So this would be that Sally just took my toy. And in that case, you would want to teach the skill of assertiveness by saying, did you like that? And if they say no, then you would instruct them to go to the other child and say, I don't like it when you take my toy. The third type of tattling is revenge. So this would be, Greg is not eating his dinner. And that is when you can say to the child, are you telling me this to be helpful or hurtful? If they say helpful and it's not helpful, then you ask them, well, how is it helpful that you told me Greg is not eating their dinner? And if they say hurtful, if they can recognize that what they're saying is hurtful, then you ask them what they could do to be helpful rather than hurtful.
So what Karen was talking about, the skill of assertiveness, there is both the skill of assertiveness for adults and then for children. With adults, you want to make sure that you're being assertive, not aggressive, but also not passive. To find that assertive voice, you want to state something very concrete, such as, the table is brown. Okay, that is my assertive voice. The table is brown. So you would just say to the child, Joey, your hands are on your friend. It is distracting him and you. Sit by yourself and keep your hands to yourself. Can you do that? The assertiveness for children, it's important to know that you always, as an adult, want to go to that victim first and teach them to be assertive. So we want to teach them to use the language, I don't like it when you blank. And then really the teaching part comes in of telling them, what do you want your friend to do? So let's say if a child took their block. I don't like it when you take my block. Go get a block from over there. Or go build your own building in that space. So many times the children can let you know what they don't like, but we have to teach them a positive of what they do want their friend to do.
So as adults, our role is safekeeper. It is our job to keep the children safe, and that is something that we remind the children of each morning in our classrooms, and it's something you can remind your children of at home. I am the safekeeper. It is my job to keep you safe. So in the previous example with tattling, with safety tattling, you tell the child, I am the safekeeper. I will handle the child that fell from the tree and hurt their arm. Some common language that we use when a child is clearly telling you they need help, but they're not saying those words. If they're whining, if they're tugging at you, if they're tapping you, you can turn to them and say, so you want help. When you want help, please say, Mommy, can you help me? And that is something that's going to take repetition on your part. You're going to start showing them how to use that helpful language, and they will slowly start to recognize when they need to ask you for help.
So one of the reasons why Karen and I have fallen in love with conscious discipline is it almost gives you a template of language that you can use during difficult situations. For instance, let's say your child pushes another child because they wanted a certain toy. You can fill in the blanks with this one. You wanted the toy, so you pushed your friend. You didn't know what else to do. You may not push. Pushing is hurtful. When you want the toy, say, may I please have a turn? It helps in situations to show empathy towards your child. For instance, if it's time to go and your child breaks down crying. Your face is going like this. You seem sad. You wanted to stay. Or you were hoping we could stay and play longer. It's hard. Breathe with me. You can handle this. It's important that you show empathy towards your child, but that the outcome still remains the same. You're still going to leave, but you help your child calm down so that they can handle that situation. It's important that we start to encourage our children and point out the things that they are doing correctly. You pushed in your chair so that nobody would trip on it. You did it. Way to go. Try to stay away from the words like good girl or good boy. Those things don't really mean much to children, so we need to be more specific in our language of, telling exactly what they did. You put your toys away so that you could find them the next time, or You put the books back on the shelf so that people wouldn't walk on your books. So visuals are a great thing to have up around your house. We use them all the time in the classroom. Here's an example of a visual that I use at home to help my children know the routine for getting ready. Visuals never get tired of telling you or your child what to do, so that you can more simply say, okay, what's next? If they are, let's say it's time to put on their socks and shoes. We're on number 5. You're gonna use 2 positive choices in order to get them to start this behavior. So it is time to put your shoes on. You may start with your left foot or your right foot. Or you could say, it's time to put on your socks and shoes. Do you want to wear your gold shoes or your blue shoes today? So you're giving them a choice. Oh, and then you also end with, which would be best for you? It's giving them that ownership, letting them know that they're making the ultimate choice, makes them feel good about it, and it helps to get them to comply a little bit better.
So Missy just gave you the language to start a behavior. There are going to be times when you need language to stop a behavior. You can say, you have a choice. You can choose to keep your hands to yourself and keep playing with the rest of us. Or you can choose to keep hitting your friend and you will have to play by yourself. And then you would say, I can see by your actions that you have chosen to either play by yourself or play with the rest of us. When you give the negative consequence, for instance, I can see by your actions that you have chosen to play by yourself. If you have a child that gets really upset and starts threatening, if you do that, I will do this, you can say to them, I can see by your actions that you are hoping to stay and play with the rest of us. This is hard. You can handle it. Breathe with me.
So we've given you a lot to think about. Remember to celebrate even the small victories that you have. And remember, even if you're using it 10 or 20% of the time, that's more than you were before. I'm Missy Melba.
I'm Karen Connelly. Thank you for watching.
Bye.